senseless loss of life in Buffalo, New York, in Laguna Hills, California, and Uvalde, Texas. Could we just take a moment, please? Thank you. Tonight we feel a great sense of gratitude for the opportunity to be here with each and every one of you in person. It has been quite some time that we haven't had the chance to see each other, and with our new families, this is what it looks like when we get together. And for us not to have been able to see our family and friends and to see all of you, it has been a challenge. We're very, very grateful that you are able to be here and that all of you are able to come to be with us. And I'm going to start tonight with extending that expression of gratitude by recognizing those individuals who made tonight possible. And it's a small but mighty group, and that group is, I'm going to go through them one at a time, and I'd ask if you please stand and remain standing, is Armenian Bar Association. This event into their already daily, very busy lives. Everyone that you're meeting here has a very busy practice. They all have small children. Well, not all of them, but have small children. And they were able to balance both work, family, and community. And for that, we're very, very grateful. Also, expression of gratefulness goes to our board members, and I'd like to recognize them. We've had a really busy year in the last about year and a half, and the work that we do at the Armenian Bar Association, we won't go through all of it, but there are two that we're going to be highlighting tonight. I'd like to ask our board members to stand, please, and I'm going to start at this table with Gerard Kasabian. Yeah. Armenia next month for our meeting, and you're all welcome to attend with us. Then I'd like to transition to talk a little bit about some of our friends who are here, who've made it a point to come, two of whom I think are here for the first time, and that is Erica Azwategi. She's the alternate public defender's office, and public defender Ricardo Garcia. And so when I extend that expression of gratitude, it goes to those individuals who are sitting at your table, who volunteer at our pro bono clinic, giving their time not just on the weekends, sometimes in the evenings, and they're sitting over there with you, and they do quite a bit in extra hours to help us with expungement clinics, to help us with all sorts of matters. So we're very grateful for that. Also at that table is City Attorney Michael Garcia. We're also going to hear quite a bit about diversity and inclusion. And for the Armenian community, the city of Glendale is really where we call home away from home. And when we talk about diversity and inclusion, a lot of that has to transpire through the city attorney's office. So our community is very grateful for all that you do. Also at this table are my colleagues, so I'm just going to do a little shout out. about diversity and inclusion, the person that probably has the greatest impact on many of our programs here is Supervisor Catherine Barger, and we're very grateful that you were able to be here with us today. We rely quite a bit on the wisdom and the advice of our judicial members, and we're very blessed to have many of them here with us tonight. And I'm going to start with the senior members of the bench for the Armenian Bar Association, and that is Judge Zaven Sinanian. Thank you. Judge Keosian over here. Judge Armenian Judge Tanzarian, Judge Ashlanyan here. And of course, you'll get to hear about Judge Kamayan in a little bit. As we make our way through the evening, and you'll learn a little bit about some of the programs that the Armenian Bar Association has participated in. There's one that is fairly new and very unique, and it's really an opportunity that was created about 3 years ago when the Ombudsman of Artsakh and Armenia visited California at the invitation of the Armenian Bar Association. And as dignitaries do, we visited a number of offices, we visited different legal institutions, but the one that stood out and actually volunteered to make a difference is Southwestern Law School. And we have here with us Vice Dean Anahit Karahanyan, and Associate Dean Maggie Hall. Judge Suzanne Bruguera was hiding over there, and I didn't get to. And of course, now retired DA or past DA, former DA, Robert Filibosian. Thank you also. I'd like to take a moment to talk about the program at Southwestern, and it has to do with this. Southwestern probably has the greatest number of students that are of Armenian American descent or Armenian descent, and that's by design. It's really a deliberate effort on the part of Southwestern to integrate and have the school reflect the community that is here in their midst. And by doing that, they took this a step further, and what they did is they offered 2 scholarship opportunities for 2 students, one from Artsakh, one from Armenia, through the Ombudsman's office to come to Southwestern and earn an LLM degree on a scholarship. That's tremendous. I'll tell you why. You may not know about Artsakh. Artsakh is struggling to find its independence. And when you graduate from Artsakh State University, which is just your regular 4-year institution, and you'd like to apply for an opportunity to get a higher education, well, it's an unrecognized country by world standards, and as a result, your degree is a little bit more difficult to have accepted as part of other institutions' ability to validate your grades and your transcript. But Southwestern recognized that difficulty and has agreed to allow that opportunity to come to students from outside. And but for Southwestern's ability to do that, we may not be able to offer that opportunity to just regular students who are trying to better themselves and travel and get a higher degree. And in that regard, the very first fellow who started at Southwestern on August 18th of 2021, during a pandemic, during a war, is none other than Armenian. Had top honors at his school. He was the student body president, and he learned English. He read Charles Bukowski poems, posted them on Facebook. And when it was time for war, he was called to duty, and the semester was on hold. He went to war, came back, finished the semester, learned of this opportunity, applied, was accepted, and for the first time in his life, got on an airplane and flew to Los Angeles. And somehow he keeps getting A's. He'll check in pretty frequently. Our goal for Arman was to make sure not only that he left with an LLM degree, but that he really got integrated to the way of life of California Armenians. And that, for us, was an opportunity for our education of inclusion, so that when he returned back to Artsakh, and when we travel to Artsakh or to Armenia, we don't go there as tourists, but we go there as natives, because we have a friend and a brother and a son who is there to lead us. So we are quite grateful for this wonderful program. Southwestern has agreed to extend it by 4 more years. 8 more students will come. And many of the sponsors, I'd like to thank you, because your sponsorship dollars allow us to continue in this type of programming. So we're grateful for that as well. And so with that, I think I've gone over my 2 minutes. And Armin, I think, is coming up next.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 8th annual Judges Night. We are extremely excited this year to have this event again, and thank all you judges who have dedicated yourselves to public service. I can say truly, that had it not been for your courageous efforts through the pandemic to keep the courts open and functioning so that life itself can continue, we may not be standing here today. So we with honor present you this night, because we didn't have 2020, we didn't have 2021, but now in 2022, we're back. I'd like to start with, first, asking all the members of the judiciary, along with the retired members, to please stand up, because this is your night, and you deserve to be recognized. interestingly enough, I was in trial today with Judge Birch in Long Beach. And the discussion came up about the black robe. Where's the black robe come from? And he was telling the jurors a story about it. And I said, you know what? This is what exactly I was going to maybe start my evening with tonight. And so I had found, about a week ago, a very interesting comment from Justice Sandra Day O'Connor on this, who we know is the first woman of the Supreme Court. And she had shared her thoughts with the Smithsonian Magazine about the black robe. And what did she say? She said, my fondest thoughts about my robe have to do with the tradition at the Supreme Court for putting it on. On argument days, a buzzer sounds about 5 minutes before the oral argument starts. The justices go to the robing room, the court's version of a locker room. Each justice has a locker. Attendants help the justices fasten their robes. Then, the justices, without fail, even if they disagree in the opinion they're about to issue, engage in a wonderful custom. Each justice shakes the hand of every other justice before walking in the courtroom. An important reminder that despite the justices' occasional differences in opinion, the court is a place of collegiality and common purpose. And we all know that all of you promote and support collegiality and common purpose and utmost importance of civility. So thank you. So what do you put on that black robe? Remember what Justice Sandra Day O'Connor said. Even if you disagree, shake the hand and do the right thing. And importantly enough, at the end of all this, you are the final word. The final word in interpreting the Constitution and deciding things. Who decided the Bush-Gore election in 2000? The Supreme Court did. You are the final word. And as far as I'm concerned, of course I'm biased as a lawyer, your positions are of the utmost importance to this country. With that being said, and as the night goes on, I'm starting with some technical difficulties. I hope for smooth sailing through the rest. I'm going to invite Judge Ruth Kwan up here to provide us some words about the evening and the diversity and inclusion. Judge Taylor was going to be here to provide it, but Judge Kwan's going to fill his place for the evening. Now I had to put together a very short bio for Judge Kwan. It took me a while to break it down to short because she's done so much. But I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of it. She graduated from USC in 1978. She was 19 of 22 children. And she didn't just graduate from USC. She worked and supported herself through college. She went to Hastings in 1981 and graduated from there. She began her career as a prosecutor in 1981 with the LA City Attorney's Office. And she didn't stop there. The 1994 earthquake happened. And what did she do? She authored the first statute of its kind to prevent price gouging after the Northridge earthquake. That, of course, landed her an appearance on Good Morning America. In 1995, she was appointed to the bench, and she has been on the bench since that time. In 2019, the Armenian Bar Association honored her as one of its honorees, just as we have a few honorees tonight. She currently sits in a long cause courtroom. I hope to appear in front of her one day. And she is the LA County Court's co-chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Judge Kwan, if you come up here, we'd truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Armin, for giving away my age. So, good evening. It is a great pleasure to be back in this great venue, Phoenicia, with all the wonderful people from the Armenian Bar Association. Congratulations to Lucy, the current president, for putting on this wonderful event. And also congratulations to immediate past president Gerard Kasabian for his successful presidency as well. Now, Judge Taylor sends his regard, and I have his permission to tell you that the reason why he's not here is because a member of his household has COVID. And he doesn't have any symptoms, he said, but out of an abundance of caution and respect for each and every one of you, he decided not to be here tonight. So, you get me instead. And by the way, there's Assistant Presiding Judge Sam Jessner there. Sam. Now, first of all, Judge Taylor wants to send his congratulations to tonight's honorees, Supervising Judge David Galfan, Judge Richard Armenian, and Supervising Judge Amy Pellman. And by the way, Judge Galfan is on the ballot next month. Make sure you all vote for him, as well as Judge Carol Elson. And we have other two judges here we have Judge Cowan here from the Civil Division, Supervising Judge for Civil Division, and Judge Sam Olta, who is also here tonight, Supervising Judge of the Criminal Division. So I am tasked with, by Judge Taylor, the task of talking a little bit about the court's Diversity Inclusion Working Group, which was formed about a year ago. He and I are co-chair of the working group. Your own Judge Tinanian is also a working member of that group. The purpose of the working group is to find pathways for the courts to open doors and to include less seasoned attorneys. That would include minorities and women in the practice of civil litigation. The goal is to create opportunities, promote access to attorneys from all backgrounds, provide courtroom experience, and inspire future generations of attorneys who represent every facet of our society. And what have we done to do that? Since our formation about a year ago, we've done quite a few things. Just to highlight a couple of things that we've been doing, we put on a forum. Okay, good. This is sounding good. No sound. Don't make, because the Chinese Lawyers Association, every time you go there, you cannot hear the speaker. This is great. All right, thank you. So we put on a forum. The theme was helping others while helping yourself. What we did was we invited a lot of nonprofit organizations, legal organizations, to talk about the various opportunities that they offer to less seasoned attorneys to work with them on a pro bono basis so that less experienced attorneys could gain litigation experience. Another thing that we did with the working group was that we participated in an implicit bias training put on by CALA and the ASCDC. And I have to say that I've attended quite a few implicit bias training. Their trainers were phenomenal. I participated in it. It was truly one of the very best. And we're going to put another one on this year. So for those of you who missed that opportunity, make sure you sign up. We also put forth a local rules change. And these rule changes are vehicles giving opportunities for attorneys to request that a judge permit less seasoned lawyers to perform litigation and trial functions alongside with more experienced attorneys. What does that mean? What it means is that a seasoned attorney could now, along with the less seasoned attorney, together split the function of examining one witness, okay? That way, the seasoned attorneys will have an opportunity to train the less experienced lawyer and allow the more seasoned attorney to maintain control of the examination. So one of the most successful programs that we put forth is the court sponsors trial skills program. Our first program was in April on jury selection. We had some very well-known plaintiff and defense attorneys. They were there to do mock jury selection with real-life jurors. We actually pay for people to come and play jurors, okay? So they're not jurors that were planted there. They're actually real-life people. And they did jury selection. There was a lecture component. And then afterward, there was a discussion by all these presenters to talk about what works in jury selection, along with a plaintiff and a defense jury consultant. We had 1,600 people that signed up. It was phenomenal. So our next trial skill program will be on Tuesday, June 23rd. Great attorneys will talk about media openings and opening statements with demonstration. They will talk about how to effectively use mini opening statements to weed out the jurors that you don't want on your case. Do sign up because each program gives you 2 MCLE credit, and the best of all, it is free. The remaining programs will be on examination of witnesses, expert witnesses, and closing arguments. In addition, the court started the judicial mentoring program over a year ago to mentor lawyers who wish to become judges. Currently, we have 100 mentor judges as well as 180 mentees. The program is such a success that it has gone statewide and has expanded nationwide to other states. So these are the great work that the Superior Court has been doing in partnership with various bar associations. And Judge Taylor and I would like to thank the Armenian Bar Association and its member for always being so supportive of our court. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Juan. We are going to show a 6-minute video presentation next that provides a brief outline of what the Armenian Bar Association does, how we intend to promote diversity and inclusion in the legal field, in the community. And there'll be an interview actually also from Justice Baxter, who will provide some information on the past. But before we show that video, I wanted to recognize Lucy Barpetia, our chairwoman. Lucy. Lucy, hands down, is the heart and soul of this organization and this team. The tireless time she puts in to make sure that things run smoothly, including this event. I mean, I got a text from her, I think last night at 12:30 a.m. and another one at 5:30 this morning. She is absolutely dedicated to making sure that everything goes smoothly and that these events are done well, and most importantly, that the Armenian Bar is on the cutting edge of what modern society wants. So thank you, Lucy. So with that, we will turn to the video, which I hope you all will enjoy.
For over 30 years, since its establishment in 1989, the Armenian Bar Association has carried out its prolific goals for developing professional growth, community advancement, and cultural diversity across the country and internationally.
What drew me to the Armenian Bar Association when it was first formed some 30 years ago was really my own experience, professional and personal. By that time, I had been involved as appointment secretary for Governor Deukmejian, so I knew how helpful bar associations could be. In particular, bar associations representing minority, racial, and ethnic groups to help governors, help Governor Deukmejian in particular, diversify the court by encouraging applicants from the underrepresented pools to put in applications for judicial appointment.
Today, the promotion of cultural growth and civility embodies the mission of the Armenian Bar Association as efforts to broaden awareness and inclusion of diversity expands across California judiciary.
Where our members express a desire to participate, we really try to be inclusive and create programs that would address those interests.
Committed to serve the profession of law, the Armenian Bar Association, its members and constituents have been actively lobbying and advocating for women and people of different ethnicities.
Relentlessly, the programs have gained pace and speed and girth and thickness and joy and meaning. It's such a wonderful thing to witness, but even better to be a part of.
The hard work and efforts to uphold civility are realized in such works as Marvin R. Baxter, Justice of the California Supreme Court, an Armenian American judge who created programs with Governor Deukmejian, along with the California Women Lawyers Association, to expand the opportunities for women and minorities to ascend to the bench.
The governor encouraged me and my successors to work openly and diligently with the California Women Lawyers Association and with the various minority bar associations to get their help in attracting applicants from their communities in order to increase the pool of available applicants for those for the judicial appointments. So when I was presented with this opportunity, the So You Want to Be a Judge program by Judge Cherlin, she was the representative for California Women Lawyers at the time. We jumped at the opportunity, and she and I and bar leaders would hold these programs throughout the state, advertising and trying to explain the judicial appointments process and to encourage applicants from not only women but also minority applicants as well. That was the purpose of it. As far as I know, it still exists and it's still successful. And it's certainly a challenge that remains. It may not be as difficult to overcome today, but it still is a challenge for the ultimate goal of having a judiciary that is truly reflective of the diversity of the entire population of California.
The Armenian Bar Association is committed to serve the profession of law and make a lasting contribution to the preservation of culture and civility in a rapidly evolving society.
It's such an honor for me to address the Armenian Bar Association because we have so much in common, not just from a sociological standpoint, but we now know how connected we are biologically and through DNA. So it's both a scientific as well as a sociological commentary on our unity and oneness. That judges make a difference in people's lives every day and you may not recognize it. Lawyers can transform our society with words and with action. And that is the fundamental role of our democracy, that courageous judges and lawyers who take up these causes can transform not just our society, but an individual's life.
This year, the Armenian Bar Association is celebrating over 30 years of triumphs and progress in the Armenian community and abroad.
together his motion with. Are Vahe and Bacha here? I guess they couldn't make it, but they had sent, obviously, people from their company here to help us. Vahe and Bacha Garbedian are a friend of the Armenian Bar, and they spent their time and effort to put that video together. Of course, we thank Justice Baxter for the time he's volunteered to actually have his interview along with Secretary Cespedes. So we'll turn next to the award presentation, and I'm cognizant of everybody's time, so if somebody goes on too long, I may nudge them a little bit from my seat, but we'll see. But I'm going to first invite up Laura Yeretsian, who's going to present Judge Gelfand with his award. Laura Yeretsian is the principal of Yeretsian Law, a criminal defense firm in Glendale. She's tried cases ranging anywhere from DUIs all the way up to murder cases. She's been recognized as a super lawyer on numerous occasions. She's the 2019 Pasadena Magazine Top Attorney Award. And importantly, she's been honored by Congressman Schiff as the District Woman of the Year. Ms. Yeretsian, would you please come up here?
Thank you for the kind introduction. Good evening. I was told that I have 2 minutes. But since Lucy told me I have 2 minutes, you all know what that means. It's going to be 2 very long. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce the first award recipient and honoree, Judge David Gelfand. A name many of you are familiar with, especially attorneys practicing in the criminal courts. Judge Gelfand is the supervising judge of the North Valley District, which includes San Fernando, Chatsworth, and Santa Clarita courthouses. All very busy courts. For the last 3.5 years, he has taken on the role of a supervising judge with an open heart and used it as an opportunity to help incoming bench officers during difficult transition to the bench. The ultimate problem solver, he will drop everything when needed by any of the 27 bench officers he supervises. He has been described to have a calm, deliberative, and reasoned manner. His reputation is that of a judge who is fair to all parties with rulings that are straight down the middle. Conscientious, intelligent, and always well prepared. He has embraced alternative sentencing, including mental health diversion and drug treatment. However, when necessary, he will impose appropriate punishment within the confines of the law. More importantly, throughout his 15 years on the bench, he has created and fostered an environment in his court where everyone is treated with respect. He is very approachable, easy to get along with, always willing to listen, and gives attorneys an open forum to practice law. Judge Gelfand's court is the ideal courtroom for any attorney, but especially the newbies. Where were you, Judge, when I first started working? On any given day, Judge Gelfand wears many hats. He could be supervising and conducting administrative work. In a moment's notice, he could be covering a misdemeanor court for a judge who's called in sick. He could be doing overflow preliminary hearings in Department L where he sits. Or could be running the Diversion 50 court for homeless defendants suffering from mental illnesses. But tonight, he wears a hat he truly deserves. That of an honoree of the Armenian Bar Association. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Judge Gelfand to the podium.
Many people in this room have known me for so many years. And I really want you to know how much I really, truly appreciate this honor. It's a big deal to me, and it means a lot to me for a number of reasons. I've had the privilege of serving as a Superior Court judge for almost 15 years, and I think kind of a priority to me was always understanding the difficulties that attorneys have. I was a trial attorney. I worked in the civil practice for a sole practitioner. Being an attorney is one of the most stressful jobs you can imagine. You have the stresses of your client, the stresses of your boss, the stresses of co-counsel or opposing counsel. The last thing you need is stress from a judge. That was how I always wanted to be the judge. You can come to the court with a smile and not create an additional layer of stress. That's how I've tried to operate, and when I'm fortunate enough to have new judges come into the district, and I try to teach them, demeanor is everything. And it really is important for judges to understand just how difficult an attorney's job is. And hopefully I've been able to do that, and I see a lot of attorneys who've been in my court, and I hope that I've been able to achieve that. Another really special part of tonight is that I get to share the stage with Amy Pellman, who's a supervising judge in family law, but also one of my good friends, Richard Kamali. And we know Richard. He is the most humble, honest, just under the radar guy. And he doesn't want anyone to talk about him or talk about how great he is, but you know what? Too bad. I'm up here, you're down there, so you just sit back and listen. Always wanted to say that. I can say that, he's a judge. So Judge Kamalian is just an amazing bench officer, he's an amazing person, and he's such a credit to the profession. I've known him for 15 years, and there's not a more diligent judge, fairer judge, or just a great person. And because he's so quiet and unassuming, people don't know who he is, which is unfortunate because he's such a special human being. So I just wanted to say that because he really needs that type of attention. Not attention, but gratitude for all of his great work. And there's a little secret about Rick Kamali that nobody knows, or some people know, but to show you how dedicated he is, he's a guy who gives up almost all of his vacation every year to come to work. Here's a guy who's coming into work and covering all these other courts for his colleagues, for the lawyers, to make sure he does his job in such a good way. And I think, that fact alone shows so much about what a great person he is. But this award also this honor means a lot to me because the Armenian community has had such a major role in me becoming a judge. A number of individuals helped me get to be on the bench, Judge Pachivian, James Bazagian, and a number of Judge Trevizian. And then once I got on the bench, a number of individuals in the Armenian community actually assisted me in becoming a better judge. Judge Homerian, Judge Sinanian, Judge Kiosian, and Judge Kamalian. So I owe such a deep gratitude to the Armenian community. So you're here to give me an award or honor, but I should be really giving you the honor because I owe you. So thank you very much.
this is, it displays a traditional Armenian peacock, and the artist is Simon Yeretian. And this award is pretty special to us, the way that she's designed it. So, Lara, if you could just come up and take a quick second.
Good evening, everyone. In the tradition of the Armenian Bar Association, we always read the plaque. The Armenian Bar Association, on the occasion of its annual Judges' Night and Awards Dinner, proudly recognizes the Honorable David B. Gelfand-Yan, of California's judicial system, whose iron ore and human core are set firmly in his irreproachable example of leadership, his superlative standard of integrity, in his warmth, compassion, and sincerity. May 25, 2022, Glendale, California. Congratulations.
Our next presenter for the award will be Vicky Urfalian. Vicky Urfalian is a member of the Armenian Bar's Pro Bono Committee. While in law school, she realized that public service was her calling. As a result, she accepted a position in the LA County Public Defender's Office in 2008. And within only 3 years, she became the alternate public defender, a position that she holds to this day. She's tried over 100 cases, and she has an absolute passion for representing the indigent and strives to protect the constitutional rights for all. Vicky, will you please come up here?
Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Good evening. I have the privilege and honor of introducing Judge S. Kamalian, Judge of the Superior Court of Los Angeles County for 16 years. Judge Kamalian presides in Department 121 at the Criminal Justice Center in downtown Los Angeles, one of the busiest criminal court buildings in all of Los Angeles County. Judge Kamalian's court handles a full spectrum of felony calendar and trial matters, from murders and robberies to low-level theft cases and all types of felony cases. Judge Kamalian exhibits the kind of work ethic and professionalism that is respected by judges, jurors, attorneys, and courtroom staff. The first time I entered Judge Kamalian's court, I thought to myself, oh, this judge is very formal. I better be on my best behavior. And I'd come to find out that for 25 years prior to becoming a judge, Judge Kamalian conducted countless civil trials in state and federal court, representing police departments in the county of Los Angeles for civil rights violations. The cases he handled ranged from false arrests, excessive force, wrongful death, shootings, and the like. With his background and experience with trial practice in state and federal court, it's no surprise that Judge Kamalian possesses the valuable combination of self-confidence, intelligence, and civility that is so essential in a criminal court judge. As a third-generation American of Armenian descent, he recalls the days when his grandmother would flip over an Armenian coffee cup, wait for the grounds to settle, flip it back over to read someone's fortune by interpreting the remains of the coffee grounds. He remembers stories that were passed down from generation to generation about his grandfather's experience in escaping the Armenian genocide. Decades later, Judge Kamalian finds himself with a thirst for piecing together that story and that history, and references 13 journals that his grandfather wrote in Armenian, and he hopes to translate those journals to gain a deeper understanding of his grandfather's journey. It was enlightening speaking to Judge Kamalian today. He was in trial all through last week and into today, and so we had a chance to finally speak, and I was very enlightened by his journey to becoming a criminal court judge. From his job delivering newspapers and then working as a filing and service processor during law school, to handling over 4,000 asbestos-related cases, including taking one of the first 10 asbestos cases to trial in Los Angeles, to representing the Sheriff's Department in civil rights cases in state and federal court, to his recent position as a criminal court judge for 16 years. He is known for treating everyone that steps foot into his courtroom with utmost respect, including individuals charged with crimes, to courtroom staff, to families of victims. I actually had a chance to speak to some of his courtroom staff who gave me a little secret that it's actually his birthday tomorrow, and so they wanted me to mention that during my speech. I am honored to present this Armenian Bar Association Award to Judge Richard S. Kamalian.
When I was advised that I was going to be the recipient, or one of them, of this honor tonight, my first thought was, we've run out of Armenian judges. Nonetheless, I very much would like to thank the Armenian Bar Association for this distinct honor and privilege. And before I go any further, my friend David Gelfand, for about 16 years, I talked to him every evening on his way home from work. So, now keep in mind, I'm still working, but he's on his way. So, you know, there's about 500 judges in the Los Angeles Superior Court. In the county of Los Angeles, we have approximately 10 million people. It is a distinct honor and privilege to be able to have the opportunity to serve the community. So I wanted to share with you 3 things. First, I can't do what I do without my colleagues. They are tremendously wise, caring, and gracious with their time, their effort, and their knowledge. I could spend all night, which nobody has, thanking them individually, but collectively, I want to thank them for helping to make me a better judge. Many of them are here tonight, and there are some of you sprinkled among you who I actually started with at the Metropolitan Courthouse. They are here. They are here for 3 reasons. 1, to honor Judge Pellman. 1, to honor Judge Gelfand. And finally, free food. So, let me ask you a rhetorical question. What would you do without the courts? If you're a litigator and you go to court all the time, you're probably throwing up your hands and saying, I have no idea. If you're a lawyer that does transactional work, maybe you get to court once in a while, but that's to solve the dispute that you're involved in. Maybe you thought, If there wasn't a court, I could have been a dentist. What would you do when your favorite patient came in for your favorite root canal, got up and left through your favorite door without paying your favorite reception? There's no court. What would you do if you thought maybe I could be the next American Idol? You wrote the song, and then you find out the next week that somebody wrote the same song. What I'm trying to tell you is what you already know. Our courts are at the very embodiment of our society. They weave a constant thread for all of us. Without the courts, our societies weaken. Without the courts, we are a weaker society. So, if it's that important, we need to tend it like a rose garden. We need to till the crop so it comes in well. We need to reimagine it when it needs to be reimagined. We need to reinvent it when it needs to be reinvented. We need to care for it like a precious relative. To do that, we need every lawyer, every judge, every public servant to recognize the necessity of a strong and important independent judiciary. So, the second thought I would leave with you is that, maybe it's the third. I think it's time that I gave you a personal confession. And it's only proper because it's the Armenian Bar Association, and it is my confession of an American of Armenian descent, and that is my most embarrassing moment. Hopefully it's not tonight. To do this, I have to go back briefly to 1978. Now, as I look around the room, a lot of you weren't born, some of you were teething. I was 18 months old, if you buy that, I have a bridge. So, I met my wife in 1978. And she was not Armenian. She's English, Finnish, born in Canada, long blonde hair. And we've been dating about a month. And just so you know, in 1978, there were no cell phones. None. In 1978, there was no internet. If someone told you to Google it, you went to the penal code to find out what that meant. So she asked me one day the following: I don't think I know any people that are Armenian. I scratched my head and they said, well, you know, you went to Hollywood High School. You have to know an Armenian. I said, get your yearbook and we'll take a look. In the next couple of weeks, she brings it, and I'm pointing out all these Armenian people. She said, well, she was a really good friend of mine. And I go, yeah, you know, we don't wear signs that say we're Armenians, you know, and happy. So then she looks at me, and here comes the start of my most embarrassing. She says, tell me some famous Armenians that I would know. I would know is the emphasis here. And I started scratching my head. You know, this was a long time ago. And I say, well, you know, Sonny and Sharon. Sharon is Armenian. You saw? Who else? And I go, well, do you know much about business? We're just getting to know each other. I said, Kirk Akorian, he's Armenian. She goes, oh, I've heard the name. And then she says, who else? I said, well, there's a fellow by the name of Chuck Connors. Well, that doesn't sound Armenian, but he had a show called Mannix. You know, and my folks watch that every week. Pardon me for a little sidetrack here. I really need to ask people of Armenian descent the following. Every time I walk over and go to my mom and dad's house, they'd be watching Mannix. And every time my mom would say, do you know he's Armenian? It was almost like Armenians could lose their heritage every 2 weeks. You know? No, it's Honduran. No, anyways. So I said, Chuck Connors, and she said, I very rarely watch that show. And then she asked me, who else? Well, you want to impress this person who you've got a relationship with. It's kind of budding. So I was feeling a little nervous. She wanted to be important, so I said, forgive me, Abraham Lincoln. She says to me, that doesn't sound Armenian. And I said, well, he changed his name to get votes on the Atlantic coast. And then quickly changed the subject. So, you know, she can't go to the internet. You know, I think I'll get away with this. So weeks go by, you know, months go by, maybe 6 months, and the relationship, I've met her parents, she's met my parents, we're over at my folks' house. And, you know, they took a shot at her, of course, and there's a little bit of silence, and I hear across the table in the following, Mary, Steve, I never knew Abraham Lincoln was Armenian. I hear 2 quarts. I hear some uproarious laughter, and then I got the biggest scolding I've ever had since I forgot to answer interrogatories. So, 2 things happened after that. She became the apple of my parents' eye, and she's still there. Okay. So there was a radio broadcaster. His name was Paul Hart, and maybe some of you remember Paul Hart. I think he broadcast out of Chicago, and he'd come on at noon. He'd give a little vignette, and then toward the commercial, he would say, when we return, I'm going to give you the rest of the story. So let me give you the rest of my embarrassment. About 10 years later, I'm doing a lot of work for the County of Los Angeles and the Sheriff's Department. They send me a case. It's a wrongful death, and it occurred at the West Hollywood Sheriff's Station. The gentleman was arrested for an offense, but he didn't want to have another charge attached, so he did the wisest thing he could do at the moment, which was to swallow 4 balloons of heroin. The case was assigned to a federal court judge. I will not give you his name, but we affectionately referred to him as Rocket Docket. And it was like you could file the document, your answer, before you got back to your office, you had a trial date. So I had to get right on this case, and so I call West Hollywood, I find the jailer, and I say, I'm going to come out on a Sunday and talk to you about protocols, what you're doing, and everything of that nature. And I go out. I sit down with him, we're talking, and his radio squawks, and he says, we're bringing in an arrestee. He says, keep talking, it's okay. 15 minutes later, it squawks again. It's a belligerent female. You know, he says, keep talking, it's okay. 15 minutes later, they ask for a female deputy church, this woman. And a few minutes later, I see this female being taken down the hallway by 2 very large deputies. And they're yelling, they're screaming, they're swearing, they're shouting. There's long blonde hair, and I kind of think, you know, that clothing looks a little familiar, and it suddenly strikes me that this is my wife.
Oh, Jesus.
And then all of a sudden I see about 4 more deputies come into this area, and a female. There's 6 deputies in lockup, and it's me, and I'm just standing there looking and going, what the heck did she do? And they bring her down right in front of me. She does a hair flip, looks me in the eye and says, hello, honey. You remember Abraham Lincoln? That was my most embarrassing moment. The 6 deputies died laughing. I'll never know how she did it, but she did it. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to personally thank you for this honor. My family thanks you. My friends thank you. And Abraham Lincoln thanks you.
The Armenian Bar Association, on the occasion of its annual Judges Night and Awards Dinner, proudly recognizes the Honorable Richard S. Kemalian. Since he's already Armenian, the first name becomes Dikran. Who among communities of wide ethnic and cultural diversity gives true meaning to the unifying and universal principles of freedom, equality, and humanity in courts of law. May 25, 2022, Glendale, California. Congratulations, Judge.
Our last, but of course not the least honoree for the evening is Judge Coleman. 1, 2, 3. Anybody else's birthday? So I'm going to invite up two people to provide Judge Pullman with her award today and to introduce her to the crowd. First, I'd like to introduce everybody to Dikran Kalian. Dikran is a certified family law specialist and he's the principal of the Kalian law firm. He's a member of the Armenian Board of Governors. He's a professor of law, family law practice and procedure. He's on the LA County Bar Association Family Law Section Executive Committee. He's been recognized as super lawyer on numerous occasions, and he's a legislative liaison for the Executive Committee of the California State Bar Family Law Section. The second presenter is Zephyr Simonian. Zephyr Simonian graduated magna cum laude from Southwestern Law School. She clerked for the Honorable Daniel Tabbaum at the Colorado Court of Appeal. She also clerked for Honorable Michael Nash and Michael Levanis at the LA Superior Court. In 2018, she became the supervising research attorney for the LA County Superior Court. Arguably, we need to be nice to her as judges, I guess, so that get the decisions done quickly. Since 2014, she's been teaching at Southwestern Law School, and she's the chair of the Armenian Bar Student Affairs Committee. Zephyr, Dikran, can you come up here, please?
I have a correction to make. As of March of this year, I have merged with Tony Storm. Our firm is actually called Storm Kalian LLP. I'll try to keep this under 15 minutes. I met Judge Hellman, who's now the supervising judge of our LA County Family Law Department. In 2010, when I was clerking as a judicial research attorney at the San Montes Courthouse, Board of Family Law bench, if I can describe her current impact in the family law world in a word or two, that word would be cutting edge. At this very moment, Judge Hellman is undertaking a number of programs aimed at improving families' access to justice, the court system as its vehicle, and the justice partnership between the bar and the court. I'll give you a specific example. Just a few weeks ago, she was instrumental in doing something never done before, in disseminating and encouraging family law judicial officers to respond to a unique, first of its kind, anonymous survey which I helped prepare on civility and reputation in the family law bar, which helped us provide invaluable feedback from the bench to the bar in elevating our practice. I can go on. In many ways, Judge Coleman does not need any further introduction. Many of you here today, especially family law judicial officers, family law attorneys, including myself, can attest to the differences that Judge Plowman made in our community, on families, and let's not forget attorneys. But if there was one person in this room to give you that introduction that he doesn't need, that person is Zephyr Simon, the current supervising research attorney for the Los Angeles Superior Court, who's known Judge Plowman long before she was even an attorney. So I'd like to invite Zephyr.
Good evening, everyone. Judge Pellman, who would have known that over 10 years ago, a 24-year-old student sitting in front of your class would be the one to present you today. So I'm very honored for that. Mother Teresa said, "I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples." Judge Amy Pellman cast her stone in the waters of public interest law, the judiciary, and academia. And it was at the intersection of these waters where I became one of her rippling effects. But before I explain her personal impact on me, I want to show her global impact on our community at large. Judge Pellman's passion for children and families is undeniable and inspiring. Her work of repairing and protecting children and families began at Dependency Court Legal Services, where she directly impacted the lives of at least 2,100 individuals who were either abused, neglected, or abandoned. Thereafter, she served as the legal director for the Alliance for Children's Rights, where she helped children live in permanent homes with forever families by creating National Adoption Day. Because of her, ever since 2000, over 70,000 children have been adopted on National Adoption Day. And in fact, students like myself were able to finalize adoptions because of her. Wanting to expand her impact, Judge Pellman joined the court in 2005, where she handled family law matters, which is yet another avenue of helping families beautify, heal, and cope with trauma. In 2011, our paths crossed when she transferred to the dependency court and became both my mentor and professor. In addition to handling an average of 1,500 cases per year, impacting the lives of thousands of children, if not more, she made the time to teach at Southwestern and at USC in the evenings. As a research attorney and now a supervisor at the court, I have personally witnessed Judge Pellman review every report meticulously and carefully listen to children to ensure that she arrives at the best decision for children and their families. But as a student, she single-handedly solidified my career in juvenile law when she cast her stone into the waters of my life. Judge Pellman taught me dependency law. We constantly reviewed and discussed appellate cases. At Southwestern, Judge Pellman served as my advisor for independent studies when I wrote an article on the creation and expansion of foster care system in Armenia. She brought me on Southwestern's faculty to teach children in the law with her. We published an article together in the Journal of the California Association of Family Law Specialists. And most importantly, she advocated for me when I applied to work at the LA Superior Court. I ended up in juvenile law, exactly where I belong, because of her. And to this day, in addition to supervising all other areas of law, I continue to work on juvenile-related matters because of the passion she first instilled in me. I'm not alone. Imagine, between teaching at Southwestern and at USC over the last 20 years, and having externs every single semester since 2005, Judge Pellman has mentored, shepherded, counseled, and helped solidify jobs for at least 300 students, if not more, and many of whom were Armenian students like me, and first generation in all aspects. First generation American, high school grad, college grad, law school grad. So I return to Mother Teresa's quote, "I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples." After calculating the number of cases, students, and children that have crossed paths with our wonderful honoree, Judge Amy Hellman, I can confidently say that she has created at least 80,000 ripples in her lifetime. And for that, I am so honored to present you Judge Amy Hellman.
Hari Yurgun Parkali Paragamner. Shah Shunor Hafgal Ais Badivi. So for those of you who don't speak Armenian, by the way, that was the Western dialect. And maybe for those who do and didn't understand my pronunciation, what I just said was, good evening, honorary friends. Thank you very much for this honor. This honor means so much to me, and I am so humbled to receive it. It has truly been my great pleasure to have met so many Armenian students who I've taught, my externs. I've seen so many of them tonight. Thank you, I love you guys, as well as the lawyers and, of course, the judges. I've learned so much from your rich and beautiful culture. As I reflected on my first understanding of the meeting Armenians, I'm from New York and I didn't really know that many Armenians growing up. I realized that it was when I was an attorney in children's court. And I will never forget this case. It was, shall we say, complicated. It involved a murder, multiple countries, including Armenia, Iran, and Russia, a fugitive, a love story, an FBI agent, and then my clients, 2 little girls, were right in the middle of it. Because of the nature of that case, I visited those children quite often at their grandparents' home in Glendale. And I would take them out for dinner, and then we would come home, I would take them back to their grandparents' house, and then I would have another dinner, because I had to eat, right? And dessert. And once the grandfather learned that I was Jewish and that my grandparents were from Russia, Ukraine, and Poland, he began to speak with me about the rich and long history of the Armenian people, and he would often remark that our cultures share the historical trauma of victimization and genocide, as well as the determination and fierce resiliency which have made us stubbornly successful despite the many obstacles that we have all encountered. So, over more than 30 years, the Armenian Bar Association has exemplified those ideals of resilience and success. You've grown from a small group dedicated to preserving your identity and your culture to a large and influential group which provides so much support both locally and internationally. I am so impressed by what you do, by your pro bono clinic in Glendale that provides a variety of legal supports for families, elder abuse, family law, expungements. You've taken on controversial and important issues such as domestic violence, both here and in Armenia and across the diaspora communities. So for me, based on my background and my principles that I have tried to live and follow in my life, your organization is really the embodiment of the Jewish concept of tikkun olam. Tikkun olam relates to the idea that each of us individually has an obligation to do what we can to repair the world through social action, whether or not it is at home, our work, our religious institution, our pro bono work, or even just simple acts of kindness. We're all in this together, and we share a commonality to support each other and to make our world a better place. And so in this confusing and tragic world that we're living in, the concept that we're all here to make a positive contribution to the betterment of our community and our world is even more meaningful and important. So thank you to my family, my friends, my colleagues, and please keep up the beautiful work, and thank you for the most delicious dinner.
The Armenian Bar Association, on the occasion of its annual Judges' Night and Awards dinner, proudly recognizes the Honorable, get this, Armenian M. Pellman, for her exemplary efforts and courage as an arbiter and a complete model of equality and justice. May 25, 2022, Glendale, California. Congratulations, President.
Productions, but that is Giro Kasabian, our past chair of this wonderful organization. Ladies and gentlemen, we really want to thank you for attending tonight. Thank you so much for coming on, especially on a Wednesday night, and staying late with us. I hope you enjoyed the program. I just do want to just leave you with one word, and many have declared for hundreds of years that if we're to have a government of laws and not tyrants or dictators or aristocrats, we need our courts, and most importantly, our judges, to forever ensure that our legal rights are protected. So with that, we leave you to it. Thank you so much, Your Honors, for attending, and we look forward to seeing everybody next year. And of course, if you want to stay and socialize, you can. I think there's still more wine and such on the tables, but completely up to you. Thank you all.